Welcome back to Big Brother Rewind. This is Sean,
And this is Chris.
and we are here to talk about week 3 in the Big Brother house. It's once again, very active week. A lot going on this week.
There hasn't been a boring week yet this season, has there?
Not so far. I keep saying, it feels like the house has been open for I don't know, a couple months now with all that activity. But we're pretty soon in. It hasn't
Well, at
been
the
that
end of
long.
our last episode, you're like, I'm hearing all this stuff all this drama that's going on. They're really in the house. I'm like, I got behind. Like, I had to watch 2 episodes back to back yesterday
Yeah.
to actually get caught up in time for the show. Well, one recorded show, then one the live show to
Uh-huh.
actually be ready. And I was like, what's this drama? I'm waiting for it. We're 20 minutes in.
Right.
And then boom, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Here's the drama. But guys, we do this each and every week. We do a recap of the Big Brother season. The first time we've ever done any kind of reality TV. Typically, we do reactions to movie trailers. So all the big, Marvel, Star Wars, any big movie trailer, we do reactions to those. And we do a lot of after shows. We have a lot that are in the past catalog. A lot of stuff that's on Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus. Ted Lasso is a big one for us. But then coming up, we're going to do after shows on all the big shows coming out here in the next month or so. You got Sandman, you got Lord of the Rings, you got the new Game of Thrones. There's a ton of great stuff coming out, and we're going to be covering all of it. So be sure to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, so make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And every show we do is interactive. Anytime you have something that you want to say, go ahead and say it. Let us know. And if appropriate, we'll bring it up here live on the show and go back and forth with you.
So I'm going to go ahead and start the story this week. I guess I'm going to start at the end here. Honestly, I'm going to give us the old update of the cast to kind of check in and see where we're at currently. So Paloma gone week 1. There she is. Pooch gone week 2. This week, Ameerah, if you didn't already know by the thumbnail, Ameerah is gone in a very
That's
surprising way.
huge. And it's 2 weeks in a row, two very overly comfortable, cocky people went home. And I didn't see this Ameerah thing coming.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming until they actually sat down, they talked about it and hashed it out. Like, this is where we get, and this is where we're gonna flip the house, and this is how we're gonna get control of everything. And kudos for them. Holy crap.
Yeah, I thought it was a very interesting week for gameplay. You notice here, these are now different colors. We got both pink and like a yellowish orange that's highlighting people. Because now the house is divided pretty much. We've got two big alliances between the leftovers and the old school alliance. Leftovers are highlighted in yellow here. All kind of from Kyle's doing. He was kind of the instigator for that.
Yeah, he's the one that brought this together. He's the one that formed this up. He was like, you know what? He went to Turner in his HOH room. He's like, listen, how about we do this? I mean, pretty much Alyssa has been spilling everything to him. So
Yeah.
he knew about the girls. And he's like, you know what? The girls are coming for us. They're gonna
Right.
chop off one guy at a time. And they tried to slow it down because they're like, well, Taylor, I've got firsthand knowledge that Taylor said she's coming for a guy. And she's like, well, no, Taylor's been on the block and a target and treated like just garbage.
Right.
Since the minute this show started. And you're like, you know what? If we can get her on board and say, you know what, we got your back.
This is where we left off last week. Turner put up Michael and Brittany with the intention of getting Brittany out. He was kind of wishy-washy. He was like, well, I could get Brittany out or I can get Taylor out. No big whoop. And my hands won't get dirty, that kind of thing.
Well, then he was like, I also have a fallback plan too. So it's like, if
right.
if Michael wins the veto and takes him off,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a backup plan, which, okay. I mean, he had something in mind already.
And I didn't know how Turner's head of household week was going to be, but it ended up being very eventful. And I thought he made some very positive moves for his game.
Oh yeah, no, he played that really well. I mean, I was impressed on how because not only did he had a plan for himself,
yeah,
but then he listened to everybody.
Right.
And then when somebody brought an idea that he trusted was better than his idea, he bailed from his idea in a heartbeat. He's like, okay, this is not the plan.
Yeah, and he was outspoken and really kind of put the onus. Well, we'll talk about it later in the program here. But so soon after he put the nominations, Ameerah was up there, but quick. This is like the second or third time that she's felt that she's had some sort of power over the head of household to influence them. And
Yeah.
she's doing it once again. You and I mentioned last week, we're like, I don't know, Ameerah's playing well and she's playing hard, but she's got that perspective of the house too. The other players know she's playing hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my biggest thing right out the gate with this season.
Yeah.
Everyone is playing so hard, so quick. Then you have Terrence in this picture. Dude's playing backward. He's playing behind everything. He's playing tournament poker. Everyone else is playing all. I mean, this like balls to the wall.
How do you feel about Terrence's game currently?
Uh, smart. Honestly, I think it's smart. He's kind of laying low. He's sitting back. He's letting everything. He was really tight with Ameerah here, but she's the only one that I really had a feeling that he was tight with.
Yeah.
Everyone else is kind of he has relationships with everybody. We've seen it with Nicole in this episode. We see it with other people. He's got casual relationships. I don't know if he's got any like actual alliance anywhere, which makes him a wild card, which makes him a player that they can take a long way because they can use him at points. So he's gonna
Terrence
have
is
to win
also
something.
he's not a comp beast, right? So you're not going to be threatened by him winning a competition. As far as him holding power, being at a household, like if that happens, it'll be from some kind of random thing.
We say
Um,
that now though. Is this him or is he going did he go into the house where the mindset I don't want to win anything early?
well, my assumption is because he's an older guy, he doesn't seem that, especially compared to the other guys in the house, not as
Dude, we're
athletic
older
when it comes
guys.
to
Don't
play.
trash the older guys. Come on.
I would be right where Terrence is right now, losing competitions. Believe you me. But here's my point: is that I think he's got the most solid, comfortable position in the house right now, especially given the house is fractured and divided in two. If you're going to get people out, you're going to go for high end targets on the other side, right? And
And
Terrence
they're
is not
they're
a high
hitting
end target.
yeah, and they're hitting high-end people early in this game.
Yeah,
They're not picking off the easy ones like they have in past seasons. We're just gonna make this easy. We're gonna pick off all these small people, and
yeah.
then we're gonna go right for it. No, they're going for they hit Pooch. They've hit Ameerah here. Who's the next big target in the house? And it depends on who wins, quite frankly.
And Ameerah, so basically, she started right away to kind of push her agenda. She told Turner that she wanted
Taylor.
Taylor. Yeah,
She wants
Taylor.
Taylor
Taylor
out.
Turner, Tinker Spy. She wanted Taylor out of the house once again. Old news. Um, Later that evening, well, I don't know if it was really that evening in real time, but the boys gathered here. Turner and his close the men crew. The guys of the house.
I'll
Um,
keep on pushing for Joseph there.
yeah,
I thought he was a meathead coming in. I thought he was just gonna be just some guy that they wanted to look good lifting weights with no shirt on.
right.
He is actually sniffing a lot of things out. He's got a lot
Yeah.
more in that head than, I think a lot of people in that house really give him credit for.
I'm rooting for Joseph too. I think he's doing a good job so far. And really, he made some moves, later here, and he played the whole thing really well as far as being surprised about Amir going up and everything like that. That was they did that really well. But here is where pretty much what they call the pound is formed. The pound is kind of like the inner alliance within the leftovers, and they
Dude, I
named it
lost
the pound.
track. I mean, we
I
have so
know.
many there's the Oasis. Is the Oasis
I
gone? I
don't
mean,
know. I forgot all
we
about
have
the Oasis.
there's, Paloma's Pals or whatever. I
Yeah.
think that one's gone. The Girls
That's
Girls.
gone. Yeah.
Uh, dude, the Road Rats. I mean,
These these 4 are pretty solid because these 4 are a solid group within the leftovers, right? That they're all mourning Pooch's passing, so they named themselves the Pound. But this is where Kyle starts talking to them about what his so-called would-be girlfriend Alyssa, who's not really his girlfriend in the house, but the show would want you to believe that. Alyssa, was giving him the information, all but said that there was a girls' alliance, and now
yeah,
he's taking that
no.
info back to them.
They're showing that. I'm like, "Oh, she is spilling it."
Hmm.
I mean, it didn't take long for that girls' alliance to go downhill, and I'm not shocked. I mean, they didn't turn on each other. It's just there was a guy one of them was interested in, and it just information came out.
The secret was out too quickly. This is where we picked people for the veto competition. And of course, they went up in pairs. So you see Michael and Brittany, and then Turner, and not Nicole, Turner, and what's
You
her
got
name?
Brittany, you got, uh
Wait, I can find her. I can find. Oh, Brit. No,
Nicole.
no.
Nicole, yes.
Nicole's the other one. I'm thinking about the one who's always injuring herself. Oh,
Jasmine.
Jasmine. God,
Jasmine.
why can I
The
never
one that's
remember her
always
name?
injuring herself. She's only hurt herself once. She's always hurting herself.
I don't know. She have something going on later this episode. But anyway, Nicole did not want to have to go up because she wants to throw the thing because she wants
Yeah.
Taylor out.
Well, here's another instance where she's willing to be a pawn. She is a huge target. She could easily be Pooch this week.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you ever? I don't care if I am secure in how many votes I have for me. I never truly know.
Yeah,
So why are you willing to put your game on the line to try to get a target out? I just don't understand that this season, and they're so willing to do so.
I don't either. She got really upset about it afterwards. Everybody had assumed that she was super upset because it was maybe had something to do with her mom who has
Oh, this where
cancer.
things went sideways. This is where I got really, really pissed off. I
As
also,
far as just like the miscommunication in the house, or
yes, between that and I've got feelings about two people in this house that I don't even want to be in the house anymore.
oh
I'm like
really?
and they were my favorites going in, and I'm done with them. I want them gone.
Yeah.
And I
Um,
mean,
she's super upset. I guess I didn't get this. Like she's upset because she doesn't like to throw comps, but she knows that she has to, and that's making her like cry in bed right now. Like something was off. Like I don't know if we saw everything. I don't know if that's
yeah,
just how they edited it for CBS or what, but this is just weird for her to be this upset.
yeah. I guess it's an integrity thing that she doesn't feel like it's against her integrity to throw competition.
Yeah.
But since she said she's willing to do it,
She's in
she's
here crying, and the rest of the house thinks it's something related to her mom, and they're like Taylor herself is out there leading a prayer circle to like
yeah.
Taylor, this big bad mean woman is out there like,
And she's the
holding
first one
tears
that comes
back.
to console her, really, too.
Right.
And
Yeah.
holy crap, did that go sideways?
Totally backfired. Totally backfired. And she basically, the way I read this and the way I think it was intended, Taylor was basically telling her, like, look, because they're linked, like they both have to play the veto. And if she's upset because something going on with herself and she's thinking it, Nicole's maybe too upset to play, she's basically saying, don't worry about it, don't worry about me, because that means that I wouldn't be able to play either, but you got to do what's best for you. I think that's what she was trying to get across. And it came off as like, well, Nicole interpreted that as being like, "No, I'm never gonna like dip out. You're trying to get me to quit." It was really weird.
Yeah, that the way yeah, that sat so wrong with me. It's like, this is just being misconstrued, and there's nobody in the room. This is what pissed me off even more. There was no one in that room that was willing to correct Nicole.
Yes.
Everybody knew exactly what just took place in the living room. Everyone knew
Hmm.
exactly how bad she felt for Nicole, and they were all thinking the exact same thing that had something to do with news about her mother.
Yeah.
And they let Taylor just take it and let Nicole flip out on her, and not just let that happen, but just, a few minutes later here in the show, Daniel finds out,
Right.
and then he goes all batshit crazy on her. And she doesn't even think it's real at the time. She thinks it's just I don't know what she thought it was. And then
Yeah.
she realized he was real. And she's just a mess because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, they're bullying the shit out of her.
Yeah. It got real intense. You can see her. She's like, "This is getting intense now." But like, Daniel was really coming at her. Like, and he was even like blaming her for sending Paloma out the door. Like, excuse you, buddy. Like, the nerve of this guy.
Paloma did that to herself.
Yeah.
Let's be real about that. She did that to herself. But yeah, let's back us up a little bit because it was a conversation between Taylor and Monty that
Hmm.
gives us a little more insight on why she is as closed off as she is.
Right.
And it's a racial thing that me and you don't really have any insight on, but she's basically saying, you know, within her own race, people will, talk differently about them just depending on the shade or the darkness of your
Oh
skin.
yeah, colorism. It's like racism within race. It's like
Yeah.
it's bad enough that black people have to deal with white people being the way they are, but they also have to deal with other black folks being the way they are
Yeah.
too.
So she's
It's
like,
tough.
yeah, so she's so guarded and she's always had those issues. So that's why she didn't open up like she did uh in the beginning of the show. And then she's slowly opening up. And so when she's trying to make that effort. Like I told you, she came over weird to me and my wife, episode
That
one.
first
I thought,
episode, yeah.
yeah, I didn't think I would like her at all. And then slowly as we see her personality, the more and more she's actually becoming my favorite person in the house. Because I
Yeah.
feel like we're starting to see someone that's real. We're getting real emotions from her. We're getting real conversations from her.
Yeah.
We're seeing her actually finding a way to find ways to work people. Monty was the first one.
Yeah.
And then Monty's got the group. And then she was able to get into that group with Monty. And now she realizes they've got her back. And it's the first time she's felt secure in the house.
She's making one-on-one connections, and it's taken, longer to do, but at the end of the day, I feel like those, it's a slower burn, right? Slower to
Mhm.
cook,
She
cook
played
it low and
tournament
slow.
poker. I
Yeah.
keep on referring to tournament poker. Those first 3 weeks when she
Yeah.
just survived.
Yeah.
And now she's actually getting into it. She's making those connections, like you said, and it's helping her go forward. But Daniel and Nicole, they're the two. They were my two favorite in the house.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, they can be gone. The season could move on without them, and I would have no problem.
She was so confused when she walked into this room too, just eating her bag of Lay's chips. And Daniel came down on her and she was like, you need to quit doing what you're doing. And she was like, what, eating these Lay's chips?
Yeah.
She was legit like, what are you talking about? And that's why she was like playing along, like, oh, this guy hates me. And
Well, look how uncomfortable Michael is sitting there.
oh yeah, he's got the 1,000-yard stare.
He's like, I'm not making eye contact with either of them. I'm just going to look forward and I'm just going to stay out of this as best I can.
This was a big blow up, but yeah, she got and you got her to see her in the diary room later. Like she was playing it cool, like kind of talking slowly and softly to Daniel and apologize. Which, by the way, like the fact that she's apologizing to them just like sucks.
There's
It's
no, yeah,
infuriating.
there's zero reason for her to be apologizing.
Yeah, but like you could see how hard it hit her later in the diary room session because she's like, no matter how hard I try to make connections, I keep like she feels like she's internalizing it. She's like, I'm hurting people without meaning to, and
Meaning to hurt people, yeah.
she's like beating herself up about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor woman. This
Yeah, I
sucks.
mean, there was so many, like I said, emotions that went through me, from anger from how the house didn't back her up because the house knew exactly what was going on.
Hmm.
Anger from both Daniel and Nicole on how they flipped out on her.
Yeah.
And then I got emotional. Like I got upset when she was, bawling in front of the cameras because we know what's being what's happening. So I don't know. There was a lot of emotions that went through that.
Oh, for sure. We've got somebody watching us on Twitch right now for the love of the game, waving hello.
Well,
Hello for
hey
the love of the
there.
game. Guys, you can join us on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We are live and we are interactive. So drop us a comment and we will bring it up on screen and we will react to it.
Yeah, hit that like and subscribe button as well. I mean, we prefer you over on YouTube, but if you prefer your platform is Twitch, go ahead and do it there as well, so you don't miss anything.
So we go to the Power of Veto. It's Woodstack, another festival. We're in a really weird scenario here because we've got these three teams. Brittany and Michael are really the only ones that really want to win the veto.
Jesus.
And well, it's once again we're in the cursed season here with Jasmine. How she just like I guess anxiety or
It
something. She
was
was hanging there and she just couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, she went out. Her whole body, she went limp.
Oh, she absolutely passed out. This was not faking at all.
Yeah, she went limp, and I think it's a combination between she said she didn't like heights, so
Yeah,
the anxiety of the heights, the anxiety about her ankle, so going up and down, so there would
right.
have been the impact of her ankle every time.
Hmm.
So there was a few things that went into place, and yeah, and yeah.
So this is what the second or third competition that she's had to sit out on, which I get it, but at the same time, it's a little difficult. I feel like it eventually becomes a bit unfair. All these other people are having to compete in these things, and you get to sit them out. But
Well,
it's
I
tough,
think that'll backfire in the end of the season if she made it to the end of the season. Like, okay, what did you truly do?
right?
You weren't able to compete in any of these. Yeah, they weren't your fault because of physical limitation,
Yeah,
but so and so competed in 8 out of 10 vetoes and won 3.
right.
I would tend to go that way.
So the game continues without Turner or Jasmine playing.
Oh,
And
you got her
boy,
name right.
I
Sweet.
did. It took me a sec. There was a brief pause there. I had to think about it. But essentially, yeah, we've got Taylor and we've got Nicole. Nicole does not want to win this thing.
Oh,
So
she's not
she
helping Taylor at all.
no. And I can see how that would be really difficult, especially if you're like so close to it. The person that's down on the ground has the better vantage point to actually see how this puzzle should look.
Yeah.
And so we got Brittany and Michael doing the correct thing, and they just trounced the yellow team here.
Well,
They did
Nicole
good.
was at one point was like, I'm just going to give her the wrong piece here and there, and then she's
Right.
like, "Well, I don't even have to do that." It's just like, man,
Yeah,
it was so diabolical. It was
it
like you just,
was. And Taylor was doing bad, but at the same time, it's like she had a partner that was not helping her at all, besides just saying, "Focus, focus, Taylor."
yeah, yelling focus does nothing for her.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Michael and Brittany were just powering through this thing.
Dude,
And of
it
course,
goes
they do
back
end
to
up winning.
Michael again, dude.
Yeah.
I think this is going to really hurt him in the long run because I mean he is going to become a massive target. Eventually, the targets are going to be people who are winning,
Oh,
and
sure.
he is going to be one of those targets that they're going to go right after.
I think he's safe for the next few weeks, especially at these. Now that I feel like the house is solidified into two separate big alliances, and he's going to have the numbers after Ameerah goes home. But as soon as those people that are outside of the leftovers alliance are gone, he's got to be first up as far as somebody who would want to get out. Like
And
nobody
he's
wants
not,
to
yeah,
compete against
he's
him.
not going to be nominated, and they're just going to hope that he doesn't play for veto. And
Yeah,
when he doesn't play for veto, he's walking out the door.
yeah, he's going to get backdoored for sure. I mean, maybe not. Time will tell. But he's really kind of setting that up in the house. He's a backdoor target for sure.
Was he
Uh,
3 for 3 now?
yeah, 3 for 3, and we're early in the season. It's only week 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So later, we've got Monty doing some damage control. Basically, he had a meeting. He and the other guys at the pound. We were like, okay, so we're solid. We need to bring in more people into this group to bring in the numbers to make sure we're safe. He's had his own. You mentioned the talk that he had with Taylor earlier with the colorism and the things that they'd have to deal with, and they got close. And really, there are some people in this house, Turner included, Kyle included, that really think that Taylor has not been given a fair shake in this
Oh
house so
yeah.
far. So he reaches out to her like, "Look, I know that POV didn't go your way, but like, you may not even have to go up. Like, meet me
It
in
may
the
not, yeah,
HOH
you may not have
living."
nothing to be concerned with.
Yeah,
And she
which
was
I
pumped
yeah.
because I mean, she even said it. No one's ever approached her to talk game. So the fact that they're finally coming to her to talk game, she's like, why would I not? I got to
Oh,
hear this out. I'm excited about this.
at this point, you're grasping for straws. I mean, anything. She's desperate for some kind of real connection in that house, game wise or not game wise. Like, it's tough for her in there.
Yeah, I
So
couldn't imagine being in there and being by myself.
no, like it's already a pressure cooker. We talked about that. It's already super stressful. Imagine being the house target, like week after week, like third week in a row, where you're assumed that you're going to be the one out the door. It's
I mean,
awful.
that could easily drive someone just to walk out the door.
Sure.
Like not
Yeah.
even be voted out. I mean, 3 consecutive weeks, the whole house being against you for reasons that you don't quite understand why,
Right.
and no one's talking to you, so you really have no relationship with anybody. So, yeah, I mean, that could easily have someone just walk straight out the door.
So they have this powwow up late at night in the HOH room. Turner has his pound there with him. We've got Kyle, Monty, Joseph, and they invite in Michael and Brittany, the two veto winners, and Taylor to kind of finalize this group called the Leftovers. They name themselves, and they're all jazzed. They're pumped.
Yeah, the leftovers.
Yeah,
I got a kick out of the name.
yeah, it was pretty
I
good.
I'll say that's probably my favorite one this season, the leftovers.
And they're pumped because they know that this could work. Like they decide that Ameerah is like the head of the dragon as far as the other side of the house, and they have a way to get Ameerah out this week. And when she's out, they've not only removed a huge power player from the game, but they've also given themselves the advantage in numbers. Like they could, there's a good chance they can just roll through the
They
next
can
few
just
weeks.
mow the other side of the house down, be like, once we get through them, then we'll go ahead and we'll figure it out from there. And then that's when the whole uh Pooch's pound or whatever they called them, the pound puppies, or
Yeah,
you know,
the pound. Yeah,
whatever you want to call them, would wind up then start picking off the members of their
the other
own because they
members.
wouldn't. Yeah,
We'll see how it shakes out. Typically, that's kind of boring Big Brother, but this season, because of the way these events have transpired the first few weeks, this is kind of fun. Seeing this big divide between the
what
two
did you
groups.
think of Turner telling Terrence that he's safe, knowing how tight he is with Ameerah here, and also volunteering just to leave? Like he wasn't even he wanted her to stay, and he was like, you know what, you guys vote for me to go.
I didn't like it. That was probably the only move that Turner made this week where I was like, I probably wouldn't have done that. Like, just keep your mouth shut. He's fine not knowing. Like, just tell it to like I don't know because it kind of gives away a bit that there's an alliance. Honestly, like Terrence has got to be thinking like, okay, well, he's so sure that I'm safe. Like, how does he know for sure that he's safe
Yeah,
unless he
and
has a
Terrence
group
isn't
of
in that
people?
group.
Exactly. Yeah. So I didn't care for that move, but I guess he did it because he thinks that him and Terrence are on, buddy buddy kind of relationship. Um, but yeah, like you said earlier, Terrence is kind of a wild card, so he might be great to have on their side down the line, or he might be a number on the other side. Like who
He
knows at
could
this
be
point?
he could be a swing vote.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
he could, so Turner could have very well been playing the long game with him right there.
Hmm.
Go ahead and say, I'm gonna give you some information. This is what's going on. You're staying. Don't sweat it. But knowing down the road that he may need Terrence, so he's like, okay, you know what? We were cool then, right? Let's be cool
Yeah.
now.
This picture here is pretty much the first of 2 blind sides this week because Ameerah had no idea she was going up. She felt very secure that it was gonna be Taylor and Nicole going up because that was the plan, according to her,
Yeah.
of, like, most of the house, like, so when she's sitting down, she's like, why am I sitting down
Or the
here?"
whole house was floored.
Yeah.
Then Turner, dude, these HOHs when there's video speeches,
Yeah.
they've been. It's like almost like they're in like drama class. They're dropping some stuff. When Daniel did his first week on Taylor, and now this.
I thought this was a baller move. This is the point of the game where I was like, okay, Turner's really surprised me this week. When he was like, he took ownership. He was like, I know I haven't done the best, but I want to put a stop to this. He just called out. He didn't name names as far as who was picking on Turner, not Turner,
Taylor.
Taylor. But he did say like Taylor's gotten bad shake in this game so far, and he was really like he was announcing it to the entire room, which that's something that's been lacking so far. It's been these little side
Mhm.
conversations all the way up to this point, but he was really laying it out like, "I think this is unfair for her. I don't like that this is happening, and I want it to stop."
Well, it's like one
And
of those things. If you don't say something or do something, you become complicit.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
he went ahead and he put a stop to it. And you've seen the emotion just roll through Taylor immediately. She's like,
Oh,
someone stood
absolutely.
up for me.
Yeah, this was her after that speech. I mean, she was hugging him hard, like, and she was even kind of quivering and shaking, sitting there while he was talking, while he was giving the speech.
Yeah.
You could tell, and she even said as much that she didn't realize how much she needed that until he was actually saying that stuff.
Yes.
So
I
that was
mean,
a big moment.
yeah, and there's a lot. I think a lot of respect was gained for Turner, just probably throughout Big Brother fandom, just
Yeah,
for that reason by itself.
yeah. I think before this week, it was hard to remember that he was even on the show, and then this week he's been really took the spotlight.
Yeah, at one point he was just a hippie rug maker.
That's right. So Ameerah, understandably, she shook. She and the other folks that are kind of the outsiders here, they go back and they're just like, God, this is crazy. I don't know what's going on here. This is not the plan. Nicole's definitely shook.
Well, the
And
only one in
Terrence is
that
back
picture
there.
that knew what was going on is
Is
Brittany.
Brittany, yeah. But she was very good. I'm glad that Brittany went in here early to for 2 reasons, could to kinda deflect because, if Brittany didn't know anything, then she absolutely wouldn't be in here as shocked as everybody else, so, Brittany and I think, it was a little later that Michael and Monty came in and kinda did the same thing.
Oh, they played the I don't know what's going on card
Yeah,
so well. Oh
they
my lord.
did.
They played the ignorant card like to a T.
The
I'm like,
leftovers did a
holy,
very good job. Joseph, like, all of them, I thought, because
because
it showed a little montage of their conversations, and each one of them were just, like, totally, "I don't know what's going on."
and Ameerah, she wasn't stupid
I know.
and she couldn't sniff it out. I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys held it together and you did a a good job of keeping that under wraps, because if a little of that came out, that house was going to blow up,
She
and
even
who
went
knows what the result would have
outside.
been.
You remember when they were all the leftovers were hanging out in the backyard, and she came outside in the middle of the night just to see them, and then she went back into the room, and she was like, "Oh, I guess they're just
It's
hanging
just
out."
a
That was a weird
weird
putting
group. Yeah,
together.
because even Daniel was like, that's just an odd group. Maybe they're just winding down for the evening.
Yeah. Nope. It's an alliance there, Ameerah.
Yeah, right under your nose. Let's do this. Hey guys, if you're watching this now, watching this live, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Sean and I are doing this every week, uh, as soon as we can, following the live show. I mean, it hasn't panned out to be exactly the night of the past couple weeks, but we always get it up. We love your interaction. If you're watching live during the show, is great. If you're watching after it's been recorded, just drop it in the comments and we'll respond to you. Let's continue on. Here's Daniel. What a schmuck,
Speaking of Daniel, I laughed out loud when Julie was like, and Daniel is thinking of giving a sympathy vote to Terrence,
Terrence.
or yeah, like and then he did it. And I was like, I was laughing, dude, because I'm like, he is gonna be so shocked. And he's gonna I wonder how he's gonna feel once he realizes that he was a part of the reason Amira was going out. I mean, she was gonna go out anyway, but
Yeah,
the
she was
fact that
going regardless.
she helped that he helped with that vote, I mean, that's just icing on the cake. That's hilarious.
But think of this now. So the whole group knows who voted for Ameerah, minus
Uh-huh.
this vote.
Right.
If this vote comes out, this is going to blow up in his face. No matter how much it was meant to be a sympathy vote or anything,
Yeah.
it's going to blow up in his face.
Yeah, I think we'll see some repercussions as far as discussions around this extra vote, especially within the alliance, because they know who the 7 votes were, but that 8th vote, they're gonna be like, "Who could that have been?" So that's interesting. I just thought it was really funny.
Oh, I got a kick out of it.
This was the
Dude, she
moment.
looks stoned in that picture,
I
man. You could have picked
this
a better picture.
This is not fair because she was mid blink, but this is the moment where she heard where Julie said, vote of 7-4, Ameerah, you've left the house. It was just I thought it was so funny, like because she was so confident. This is the second blind side
Oh,
of the
she
week.
was so smug going into this,
Yeah, she
saying that
thought she
she's
was
got the
staying home.
numbers and she's staying and she bought everybody's line.
Yeah,
Oh,
didn't
because the
happen for
game
her.
was so easy for her.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty easy, huh? This is everybody's reaction too. Nicole, look,
Oh,
there's Daniel.
look at their reactions. That is fantastic.
Nicole mouth agape, and yeah, we got Taylor playing it off like, "Huh, I wonder what's happening."
I don't know what just happened here.
Yeah, and then the other side of the house too, just like, "Oh my goodness, the
Well, I
rest of the
like how
leftovers."
look at Monty. Monty's smug. Monty's proud of
He's
that
like, "Go on,
situation.
Amir, get out the door."
Yeah, he's ready to open that door and shove her right out of it. There's no shock on his face. There's actually a little bit of a grin on his face. Like, yep, that just happened.
Well, that's mission
I,
accomplished right there.
well, yeah,
As
but look
far
at
as the first,
Joseph. Joseph
yeah,
looks like ready to piss his pants. He looks terrified.
as the first mission that the leftovers had, and they were able to do it, which
They pulled it
successful.
off,
So
yeah, perfectly. That was awesome.
Mira sits down with Julie, and Julie actually points out the formation of this new group, the leftovers, which Amira seemed to be shocked about, or confused about, because she was like, "Those people are in the alliance I'm in. I don't understand."
And
She
they're in
didn't
other
get it.
alliances too, or something like that. She's like,
Yeah.
yep, nope.
So this is fun. Yeah. When Julie kind of like explains what's going on in the house to the evicted house guests, because they're not coming back.
Oh yeah, yeah. The minute they start, giving away secrets and like that, there's no way back into the house for them.
Yeah. Then later we find out what happens to the other person, the other festy bestie. So Amir's festy bestie, which was Terrence, he got to choose which group that he was going to be a part of, and it's going to be a trio. And this is who he chose. He chose Monty and
Monty and
Joseph.
Joseph.
And I'm not sure by their reaction how they feel about that, honestly, but it might not be a good thing for Terrence because if for whatever reason, however the week shakes out,
If
if
they
it's the
put up
3 of
those
them on the
three,
block,
yeah.
Terrence is the one going.
Oh yeah, he doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
I almost thought he was going to team up with
Nicole
Nicole and Taylor.
and Taylor.
I th-
That's what I thought too at first.
that's where I thought he was heading with. So when he said Joseph and Monty, I'm like, oh, I don't know if that would have been the way I would have went. But he's thinking strength. He's
Yeah.
thinking if these two, if it comes down to a mental, not mental, but a strength type of competition for anything, one of these two are going to win. And
Right.
he doesn't see himself, winning these games.
And then we pretty much end the show here with this competition. This is not even the HOH competition. This is just a qualifier to see who gets to compete in the
Yeah,
HOH competition.
this is for an invitation to get to it. So they're only taking 8 people to
Yeah.
the actual. And Gimpy herself, Jasmine, it's the first one to grab one. I think we seen her get one. We seen Brittany get one. I think we seen Monty. I think we seen
Um,
3 people.
I think Terrence actually got one too.
Did Terrence get one as well?
Yeah, and that's where it ended. So I don't know up till now. I didn't read any spoilers as far as like who the head of household is or anything like that. We're going to
Yeah.
find that out here Sunday night. We'll be watching, and of course, we're going to be back next week to discuss week 4, the Big Brother house. Can this new leftovers alliance really kind of pull through? And now that they have the numbers, really start getting the outsiders out of the house? We're going to see.
How divisive is the house going to be now?
Yeah.
Well, like once, what's her name went home? Ameerah went home. How much is Daniel and Nicole? How much of it, like, are they going to blow up on the house? Because they were the ones that were the most surprised
Yeah.
of the whole thing. So I feel like their game was just blown up
Yeah.
by her going home.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how things go forward.
I'm so curious who the head of household is now. I'm sure by this point there probably has been one name because that really will decide. Like, then you can start to pull apart like who is the one who's going to be put up this week. But I love this season so far because each week is just like something new and exciting. Now you can't really predict week to week what's going to happen, who's going to be the ones on the chopping block, and it's been good so far.
I'm waiting for Indy to come out and just be
Yes.
the big player for the week. Because I mean,
Right.
Turner and Indy were essentially the similar type players. They were
True.
just away from everything.
Yeah.
And then Turner came out and made a massive play. So when is Indy going to have her opportunity to make her big play? So I mean, she's the only one on there like I can really, outside of Terrence, he's been in the spotlight for reasons, not because of what he's been doing.
Right.
Indy's been like way in the background.
Yeah.
So when is she going to step forward and actually do something? Maybe it'll be something that she wouldn't even purposely do,
Right.
but it actually winds up being something beneficial for her.
We will find out this week. So that's going to wrap it up for week 3 in the Big Brother house. Join us here each week after the eviction to discuss the week in general and do our Big Brother rewind. Like I said earlier, check out our YouTube page. We do after shows to a ton of different popular shows that are out there. We do trailer reactions. Just go ahead and like and subscribe to the YouTube page if you haven't already. Just do it.
Just do it already.
Do it.
Do it. And I guess that's all we got until we see you guys next week. So like Julie says, expect the unexpected.
Yeah.